You're listening to episode 2 of D6 Pack, recorded on January 13th, 2017. Welcome to D6 Pack, the premier podcast about beer, board games, and the surrounding culture. On this episode, we will try our luck with Blue Moon's Cinnamon Horchata, discuss what's got us hyped, and dive into an in-depth review of the popular game Survive, Escape from Atlantis. I'm Travis Keatley, and here are my co-hosts.
I'm David Westfall.
And I'm Todd Marsh. So before we dive into the episode, just a couple things we want to talk about. Again, this is just our second episode of the podcast. Everyone who watched or listened to our first episode, thank you. We're just starting out, and there's going to be some hiccups along the way. And one of the big hiccups that I noticed, I don't know about anyone else, is some idiot just clicking a pen through the whole episode of episode 1. I don't know who that was, but I told him to stop. Okay, that's for sure. So yeah, that was me. And there's going to be some bumps. We're just starting out. This is just a hobby of ours. We're definitely not professional broadcasters or professional podcasters or anything like that. So we're learning as we go. We're growing. We want you guys to come along and grow with us. So just just hang in there, all right? We're going to get better every time. There'll be inside jokes, and, we're going to have some fun, okay? So, no more pen clicking, okay? I got a Sharpie for my notes today. So, no clicking. No clicking today. So yeah, let's get it started. David, introduce us to our beer today.
Let's dive into our new brew for this month's episode.
Alright, so today we are reviewing Blue Moon's Cinnamon Horchata. So just before I go into the description of the beer, I wanted to kind of give you guys some background on what horchata is.
Okay.
Horchata is a Latin beverage. It's typically made out of like almonds and sesame seeds and stuff like that, and rice water. So cinnamon horchata is gonna have a cinnamony version of that, I would guess. But let me read the description from Blue Moon's website. For this beer, our brewmaster reached back to his roots and found inspiration in the traditionally agua de horchata. Our cinnamon spiced ale is his interpretation of this delicious Latin beverage. It's brewed with natural long grain rice for a creamy texture to complement flavors of cinnamon, making it perfect treat for a great get-together with friends. And as for the international bitterness units, this one falls at a 10, and it has an alcohol by volume of 5.5%. So let's crack it open and see how it tastes.
Let's crack them. Ooh. That smells good.
Oh wow, that definitely has a cinnamon smell to it.
Yeah, you get that so fast.
Not at all. It's a very lighter colored beer.
Yes, very light looking.
Man, that smells. I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking back to some cinnamon roll action here.
Oh yeah.
A little bit.
Well, I think this is going to be a good episode, man.
All right, I'm going to take my first drink, see how this goes.
Yeah, you definitely get that cinnamon right up front there. And it's got kind of a creamy taste to it.
That's for sure.
Very smooth. Really good.
But I will say you have to like cinnamon. I don't think that... Well, we can talk more about this later, but that, it's my first impression.
Yeah, so we'll keep sipping on that, and in the meantime, let's get on with the rest of the episode.
It's time for the best of 2016.
So, before we go into any of our usual segments, since this is the first episode of the year, we kind of wanted to go over what our best experience of 2016 was. Kind of recap on the previous year. So, Do one of you guys want to start off with that?
Yeah, I'll start off. So yeah, we just want to say, the new year, we're looking forward to all the new things coming, but we'd like to look back, think about our favorite things. So we're just going to say the best movie for us for the year, and the best board game we played. Doesn't have to necessarily came out next year, but we played it for the first time last year. So for me, I think the best movie of the year was Captain America: Civil War. That was awesome in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Captain America going up against Iron Man, their teams, all the superheroes. Really good movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. You kind of need to see some of the earlier movies in the Marvel Universe. So if you haven't, check those out first. But definitely my favorite movie of the year. And my favorite game that I played for the first time, if you listen to the last episode, we talked about our favorite games of all time. And my number 3 favorite game of all time is Star Trek Ascendancy. So I played that for the first time last year. Just came out last year. Awesome game. It's going to have tons of expansions coming this year. So it's just going to get better and better. So that's my favorite movie and favorite game of 2016.
All right. So for me, my favorite movie and game of 2016, I guess we'll start with movie, since that's where Todd went with this. My favorite movie that I saw was definitely the new Star Wars film. And I don't want to say too much about that because that will be, coming up in a later episode. But the reason that was my favorite movie is because I actually, and I hope our listeners don't get too upset with me at home, had never seen all the films before. So I had literally sat down in the 2 months leading up to the new one and watched in, not in the order they were made, but in the order that the story was told, I guess chronologically.
Okay.
So you watched 1 through 7 straight?
No, the story. I guess maybe that's not even the right way to say it. I started with Luke, so that wouldn't have been the first one.
So
Anyways,
episode 4. So
Yeah,
that's the order
4,
they're
5,
made.
6
I went 4, 5, 6, and then I went back.
to 1, 2,
I
3.
think. I think so.
That's the order they were made then.
Yeah.
Okay, then that was the order. Yeah, you're right. They were made, not the number order.
Okay.
But anyways, I had never seen them. I'd been kind of like, it's not my thing, but I really, have a new appreciation for it and actually enjoyed them quite a bit. So that was my favorite movie. And my favorite game of the year was actually, I would have to say, Flashpoint, the cooperative game.
Okay.
Enjoyed that one a lot.
So your favorite game of all time?
No. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, they match up. Favorite game of all time is also my favorite game of the year because a lot of my game playing has, really took off in 2016. So, yeah.
Like we've said, you're the newest one into the kind of gaming.
I am.
So
yeah.
Last year, you definitely played the most games
I've ever
that you've
played in
ever
my
had.
life.
Yeah. So that's cool.
All right, so following suit, I'll start with my favorite movie, which I would have said both of the ones that you guys said, but just to go with something different, I'll say Deadpool. That was
Awesome
something
film.
a little bit different that came out this year, a comedy superhero film, and I thought Ryan Reynolds did a pretty good job portraying that, and I thought it was hilarious that he even made fun of his own portrayal of the Green Lantern in it.
Right.
So, I thought it was a good movie, and it's one of the better ones of 2016.
Yeah, and you kind of almost forget it came out last year because it was really early in the year. I think it was like February that it came out. So, yeah, awesome movie.
And that was another reason I wanted to bring it up, to highlight something that maybe people forgot about. So,
Right.
don't forget Deadpool came out in 2016.
When did that come out in
Trivia
2016?
20 years from now.
What date? Do you remember? Do you recall, David? Or what month?
February.
Oh, it was early.
I just said it.
Did you?
You're
Sometimes
not even
you don't.
listening.
Yeah, it was February 12th.
It doesn't really matter what you said because
It doesn't, I guess.
When you're having a Blue Moon cinnamon horchata.
Hey, at least the pen's not clicking this time. All
At
right?
least that's, yes.
So, no excuse. You should be able to hear me.
And then, as for my favorite game, I think this is one of the top games of the year, along with Terraforming Mars. But I gotta say, my favorite game of the year is Scythe. There was a lot of hype going into this game, and I really didn't buy into it, so I didn't know much about it before I played it.
Mm-hmm.
But the game is so much fun. On the surface, it looks a lot like an area control game, but it's got a lot more depth than that. It's a resource management game. You're trying to do all sorts of things in this game, and it's a lot of fun.
Now, yeah, I haven't played Scythe, but it's definitely a game I want to play for sure. Had all the hype all year long, so awesome. Now, do you own it?
Yes, Adrian just got it for me for Christmas.
Well, next time I see you know what we're playing.
Adrian hasn't even played it yet, so
What?
I want to get it to the table, but it hasn't happened yet.
Now, when was that game released, Dave? Is that a newer game?
Yeah, it was. It wasn't released at Gen Con, but it was like pre-released at Gen Con.
Oh, okay. So
So
kind
since
of
August.
Since August. So is Scythe's like motto, cutting down the competition since 2016?
So Scythe is actually based on this.
Scythe, you guys get it? You know what a scythe is, don't you? You cut
Yes.
stuff with it. Okay.
It's actually based on
I'm
like
here
a
all
web
night.
art series. So it's like the art in the game is awesome because that's what the game is based around. But it's
Okay.
like kind of like a farming theme, but it's like an alternate reality farming thing where they use like mechs and stuff to do all their farming. So it's neat. It's different than anything else I've come across.
Okay.
So.
I'd have
Yeah.
to. I'm gonna give that one a try too.
Yeah, very pretty game from the pictures I've seen. Very, very good looking game.
It is.
Okay, so that's.
I think with that, we will move on to our hype section.
Here's what's got us hyped.
As I said in the intro episode of our podcast, and if you haven't had a chance to hear that, shoot on over and check that one out. But I am the guy that really is into tech and things like that. So one of the most recent prototypes that was released in television displays was by LG, and this was at the Consumer Electronics Show that just happened last month. It is an OLED screen, and if you guys know anything about OLED screens, they're super thin. I'd say 4 or 5 millimeters. We're talking like iPhone thin. That's the thickness of the TV. Super thin, the best picture you can get on any TV. But the coolest thing about this prototype is speakers are no longer a separate entity. The screen itself has motors built into it, and the screen vibrates at whatever frequency. You don't see it, but the sound comes out of the glass itself. It's like a crazy, mind-blowing technology. And I could really see that making for some cool designs in TVs and just making your whole entertainment center look a lot cleaner because you don't have to have extra speakers and whatnot set up. But it just blew my mind when I saw the screen vibrating, and then you heard this fairly clear and loud sound just literally coming from the surface of the screen. It was cool.
That's crazy. I haven't heard or seen anything about that. So that sounds very cool.
It definitely was.
That's different. Like I can't even comprehend how that works. So I'm just gonna sit back and take a sip of some beer, and I'll figure it out.
Does it matter when you're sipping on a Blue Moon cinnamon horchata?
It doesn't quite yet, but I'll figure it out.
So they've previously made TVs that had speakers behind the screen, didn't they?
Oh yeah, that's how most TVs are. They're usually mounted separately behind the screen.
So the difference
Yeah.
in this one is that it's thinner?
There are no separate speakers. There's no speaker. The screen is the speaker. It is vibrating. The glass is to create the sound.
All right.
So is it basically going to look like there's just like a plane of glass, like
Yeah,
sitting on your entertainment center, like where?
Yeah, some of the new ones are so thin that you have to mount them to the wall because there's no other way to mount it. They're so thin.
Where does like the plug come out of? Like, where do you plug in like a PlayStation or something?
It might have one single plug that runs to a box that has all the HDMI
so
connections on it.
So it's basically going to look like a piece of glass with like this cord just going off.
Yeah, with one cord. Or I'm sure you can hide the cord. It might be wireless one day, but I know that it's just insane. It does. It looks like a plane of glass.
The shock on Todd's face right now is like...
If our listeners could see his face right now, he's just mind blown.
This was a visual medium, I tell you what.
So, yeah, I thought that was a really cool piece of tech out of this year's Consumer Electronics Show.
Awesome.
And so how about, Todd, we sent it over for your first hype.
About time. So, something I'm hyped about, for those of you who know, which probably isn't many of you, but you two know, I like the game company Cool Mini or Not, Come On, is one of my favorites. I think I own more of their games than any other companies. So they got a couple of games coming down the pipeline in the Arcadia Quest universe. Arcadia Quest is a game I own. Really fun game. Miniatures, fantasy, battling monsters. But kind of lighter, nothing too hard. Just, do a couple actions a turn, move your guys. That's about it. So, they have a game called Masmora, Dungeons of Arcadia, it was a Kickstarter and should be coming out here to the public in probably a few weeks to a month. Actually, my Kickstarter just came in days ago, so I haven't had a chance to play it yet. Just opened it up and looked at it. Looks really awesome. It's a dungeon crawl. Really good game. But another game coming out, the Kickstarter should be fulfilling within a couple weeks, so it should be out to the public in a month, 2 months probably. And that is Arcadia Quest Inferno, which is kind of like the next step of the Arcadia Quest game. New expansion, brings in some new mechanics of like these angels that if you help them will be on your team, if you don't will kind of fight against you. But the same MO, great miniatures, fun game, good art, simple mechanics, really good stuff. So if you haven't tried these games, I would say try them out.
So the last time Todd and I were together was the first time I had tried Arcadia Quest, and I was kind of hesitant about it. I didn't think I'd like it as much, but I actually had a lot of fun with it. And so I'm curious, like Inferno, is that just going to like start a different campaign, or does it continue with like a campaign from the previous, like the base game?
It's a standalone expansion, so you don't need Arcadia Quest to play it. So it brings in a whole new campaign, new monsters, new villains, and all that with new heroes. So, but all of the characters from any of the games can cross over, and you can play with the old characters, the old heroes, and bring them to the new game. But it's a whole new story. Arcadia Quest is a campaign-style game, so you set up in a scenario, play through that, and then your characters, they get equipment and new magical spells, and it carries over to the next game, and you fight your way through level by level to the final level. Me and David only got to play the first scenario, and it was kind of fast, and it was just the two of us. This game definitely better with more players, 3 to 4 players. I think would add a lot to this game, so I really want to play it next time I see all y'all.
So I just have a question here, Todd. Let's say you had 3 people. How long does it take to play a game, I guess? What would you think would be the play time on this?
I mean, the setup took us maybe...
2 players was really quick.
Really fast. Yeah.
It was like 30 minutes, maybe?
Yeah. Setup almost took longer than finishing the scenario.
Okay.
That first game, it was really simple. And when me and David played, that was the first chance I really had to kind of play with it. I've had it, and it's a game I've actually been painting the miniatures. So
okay.
But it was, once you kind of get the hang of it and can set up quicker and all that, depending on what the scenario is, it could take probably between half hour and an hour.
Oh, okay, that's
depending
not
how many
bad.
players and all that per scenario. But you can, like I said, it's a story, so you can, if you want to do that
yeah.
scenario for an hour, if you want to play another one, go ahead. If not, you can save it all. Like the game comes with like a deck of paper, and you just write down like what each player writes down who their characters were,
And where
what
they left off
what
and whatnot.
cards they had and whatnot, and then you can just play again. A week later, a month later, next time y'all hang out. So
That's cool. That's like
Cool
old
stuff.
school save technology.
yeah, like
Back in the
yeah.
tablet times, I was here. So,
Not quite
then
a
it sounds
chisel,
like
but-
you're both, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. And I have a lot of questions. I haven't played this one, but you're both on the same scenario, right? You have the same end goal, but you're not working together. You're against each other to try to race the other person to finish it.
So you have a couple of goals that everybody's trying to complete, and then you have other goals that are kill the other players.
Oh,
Or
okay, that
play
makes
it.
sense. Okay.
And you have to complete, how many is it, Todd?
How many
Goals you have to complete?
I think it's 3. I think the first player to complete 3 goals, then that ends the scenario.
If I'm remembering
And-
correctly, that might be different in a 3-player game, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it might be. It might be like one more goal than player. I think something like that. So in a 4-player game, you have to complete 5 goals or something. But I thought, heck, do more
Cool.
goals. But
You
it's,
have a-
it's kind of like a. It's kind of like a cooperative game. Like you want to beat the game, beat the final
Yeah.
boss. That's all that matters. But throughout, kind of whoever does like the best in like the rounds, like the scenarios, kind of gets more rewards at the
Okay.
end. So it's like, you're kind of helping each other, but you want to be like the MVP
Yeah.
Style
Without
thing,
getting
so-
picked off in the process, essentially.
type of
That's-
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm still a little bit hesitant about is I feel like it'd be easy to fall behind in this game. Like, if you just keep losing, like, because you're not getting any of those rewards, then it...
Right. You
Well-
can kind of feel weaker.
I'd like to try a couple of other scenarios to see if that's mitigated somehow, or
Right.
what, but...
And that's
Cool.
the thing with more players. If one player is really kind of ahead, the other players can kind of like gang up against him, to make sure they get ahead. So yeah, that's it.
Alright.
Awesome.
So I will start the hype off with a movie. So I don't know if either of you guys have seen any of the previous Underworld movies.
I have not.
I've seen a couple.
So the basic idea of it is that it's kind of a vampires versus werewolves movie. They use the term lichens, but there have been 4 previously, but I think it was the 3rd one jumped back, and it was like a prequel to the others. It had a different cast and everything, so that was a little different. But this one, as I understand it, is supposed to pick up where the last one left off, and it's another war between the vampires and the lichens, and I think it's gonna be an entertaining movie. I think a lot of these movies get a little bit hate on, but I enjoy them. I think they're fun. They're dark and kind of hard to follow sometimes, but I like vampire and werewolf fighting scenes, so...
Right. No, I definitely agree with you. These are like, I could see people seeing these as movies like that aren't necessarily good movies, but you want to watch. Like, it's like it has enough action and just craziness that you just, it's entertaining. But I mean, there's definitely not any, Oscar performances coming out of these movies.
Yeah, I doubt it's going to be like my top movie of the year or anything.
Exactly.
But, it's worth an hour's of time. I might not go see it in theaters either,
Right.
but I'll definitely pick it up once it comes out on video
Exactly.
or on Amazon, whatever. But
Right.
so
Well,
yeah, I'm
I
excited.
tell you what, I'm really liking this beer. Oh, classic.
Oh boy.
Classic.
So that's my joke. I'm done. I'm done for the
I'm
episode.
done. He's done. Drop the mic. He's out.
All right,
Alright,
Trev,
so
what do you got for us?
I had a spur of the moment hype that I don't know how I forgot about this, but it definitely trumps anything that I've thought of tonight. As you guys know, I'm really, really, really into automotive technology, cars that come out in general. If, I had enough money, that would be what I would spend it on. But Dodge just announced at the Detroit Auto Show, actually, which is happening right now.
Awesome.
Actually, the North American International Auto Show is what it's formally called. But anyways, have you two heard of the Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat?
Yes.
Yes,
No.
Todd?
No.
You have not heard of the Hellcat. So the Hellcat was released a couple years ago, I believe at the same auto show. 707 horsepower. Now, that is a ridiculous amount of horsepower. I know it's got a top speed of like 200 and change, okay?
Nice.
I don't know where you're going to go that fast with it unless you're on the Autobahn in Germany, maybe. But it was just, it's like a horsepower war. Who can have the most? So for a muscle car, coupe, 707 horsepower was the king of the hill. Now, they haven't talked horsepower numbers yet, but they did tease and release a video where the Hellcat robot sheds its skin and out comes a demon. So the Dodge Challenger SRT Demon is going to be released probably summer of this year. And, no horsepower numbers have been released, but I'd have to guess 900 to 1,000 would be my guess on this thing.
Oh, jeez.
They also just released for the first time, which would be good for the winter climates where you get a lot of snow. They just came out with an all-wheel drive version of the Dodge Challenger too. So if you want your muscle coupe, you can get all-wheel drive and still drive it up to the ski slope. Whereas you couldn't do that in a normal Challenger.
That might be
Just
great
wouldn't
for
make
you
it
in
up there.
Virginia, but nobody's driving a Challenger in Michigan in the winter.
Probably not. Yes.
I don't care if it has 6 wheels.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, I was super excited about that. I'm excited to learn more about it, and I will definitely keep you and our listeners, tuned in as I learn more about that.
That's very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I knew nothing about that, so that sounds awesome. This is the name, Demon.
Demon, yeah.
It better have horns on it.
Literally, it just has 2 horns, like the
just
beep
breathes
at you.
fire. And it just fire shoots out. That sounds awesome.
Man. It does. I can't wait to see it, and just
Yeah, I'm gonna look at
just the horsepower numbers are going to be insane, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, horsepower. Oh, I love horses.
I'm looking up the original Hellcat, and that's saying it was 707. So you're saying
Yes.
it's going to be significantly higher than that?
I'd have to guess 900 for them to even
Make a big deal out of it.
make a big deal out of it.
It's gotta be different.
And there's no good reason for it, but I think they're saying, why not? We can do it. Let's do it. Who cares if you get? Who cares if you get 5 miles to the gallon? As long as you got 900 horsepower, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm
Just
seeing
think
the
about-
Hellcat was getting 13 city and 22 highway.
Yeah, if you're not driving it like most people are driving, you probably get closer to 10. But yeah, no, it's going to be insane.
I can't wait to play it in a video game.
Yeah, that will be fun. That's true.
That'll be the closest I get to drive one.
So one thing that, now that you say that, I hope they improve. The Challengers look cool. I used to have one. I think they're the most nostalgic and muscular looking, when you compare it to the Camaro and the Ford Mustang. I like the looks of it the best, but they're not known for their handling.
Right.
Chevrolet Camaro has the best handling of any muscle car, bar none. The Mustang is behind it, not too far. But then the Challenger is more for the looks and for the power. I hope that maybe with the Demon, they've kind of tried to catch up to Chevy in that way too, because it's one thing to go fast in a straight line, but if there's curves, you can't do it. You can't keep up. I mean,
Well,
it's
that's what a muscle car is, though, isn't it?
it's just muscle.
It's the power.
Yes,
it's not
it's power.
necessarily the handling.
Yeah, but a lot of people
It'd be a dexterity car.
a dexterity car. A lot of people have been asking for better handling, and
I know,
Chevy
so they
delivered.
can- So they can just drift into their parking spots.
There you go.
That'll work. Yeah, why not?
If you've got the money.
Yeah, he might as
Yeah.
well.
Well, that's
Sorry.
awesome. Okay. All right. So last thing I'm hyped about, when I was a kid, my favorite
Me too.
TV show, I know, my favorite TV show, bar none, my favorite everything, like everything involved around this, was definitely Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Exactly. Power Rangers, definitely my favorite thing. I can remember, like, one of my oldest memories is opening up a Megazord toy on my birthday and just being so happy about it.
I can attest to the fact that he had almost all of them.
I had a lot. I was an only child. I was an only child, kind of spoiled. So I had a lot of Power Ranger stuff because that's what I liked. So in 2017, the new Power Rangers movie comes out. Not like the TV shows that are always on now, but a remake of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers with new skin on it, coming to the new age, big budget, you know, like they kind of did with Transformers. So something I'm super excited about. Directed by Dean Israelite, so not really a big name. He directed a movie called Project Almanac in 2015. It was a success. It made money, but not really a big movie, not really a big name. There's some big name actors in it. Bryan Cranston is playing Zordon. Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad. Elizabeth Banks, you know, from Pitch Perfect. She's playing Rita Repulsa, so that's gonna be kind of cool, different to see her as a villain. And the Power Rangers themselves, kind of some, you know, definitely some new names. The biggest name within the Power Rangers would be Becky G, the singer. She's playing as Trini, the Yellow Ranger. So that's gonna be cool. But yeah, definitely something I'm super excited about. They only have the teaser trailer out right now, so you kind of get to see a little bit. You don't get to see like the Zords or kind
Bill
of
Hatter's playing Alpha too.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. So expect him to be funny. Alpha was kind of the comic relief of the old show, so hopefully Bulk and Skull show up. That'd be really cool. I wonder if there's gonna be any cameos from the old.
I don't know.
People
That
too.
would be
That'd
really
be-
cool, though, because I
that'd
know
be
that
neat.
this was my jam when I was little.
Was it, too?
Like, yeah, I went to see them live.
I
Like,
saw them live too.
You went and saw them live. That is
yes,
cool.
and it was
Yeah.
actually them too.
yeah,
like,
it
that
was
was the
them, and they
coolest
like
thing.
came out into the audience, and they were fighting.
It was
You know,
so cool.
it was
I can
cool.
remember that. Yeah, and like you know, I had all the toys.
Yep, I had
You
the
know.
lunchbox and the backpack. I had it all.
Dude, I probably went as the Red Ranger probably like 4 times for Halloween.
I went at least once.
Yeah. But my mom...
The
my
Green
mom-
Ranger was always my favorite, though. Which I don't think he's going to be in this movie. That's a little disappointing, but...
But, I mean, hey, let's save something for next. You know, hopefully
Yeah,
they make
sequel.
a couple. I'm
Yeah.
hoping they can... I love this. So,
What I
definitely super
like is
excited
that
about
this
it.
looks like they're taking that old show that was designed for children, and they're just kind of following the audience, and it's more of an adult film than the old Power Rangers movies were. You know, those were
think it's
designed
smart.
for the audience of the time, but
Because they know
Yeah.
that they still have a lot of people like us that will be fans and will go see it. So if they kind of gear it towards us, they've already got us. So it's pretty
Right.
smart.
I gotta say that I don't remember which movie I went to see, but this was one of the previews beforehand, and they played that theme song, the boo doo 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 doo, but they made it like ominous sounding, and I'm like, I know that. What is that?
What is that? Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh god, it's Power Rangers.
Gosh, my favorite one, Mr. Ooze. You guys remember him?
Yeah, that was in the first movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my favorite by far.
That was cool. Yeah, I definitely know everything about Power Rangers. And there's actually a new. They're making like a new video game, but it's not with the movie, but it's like the old school stuff.
Okay.
So I think that's coming out. That's coming out this month too. So I'm definitely gonna get that. So I'll let you know.
Let us know how that goes.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely super excited about this. I think when I first saw the trailer, I made a post on Facebook. I was like, I owe it to 8-year-old Todd to be there the moment this comes out. So I'm gonna be
That's
there.
cool.
I'm gonna
It's
watch
very
it
true.
8 times.
All right. So for my last type, I wanted to talk about something that I haven't heard a whole lot about, but one of my favorite racing games is Jamaica. And they have recently announced that they are releasing an expansion for Jamaica called The Crew.
Okay.
From what I have heard about this game, it's not adding a ton of stuff, but it is going to add characters in that you can put into slots in your ship, which will give you special abilities. So
Okay.
And is that something you feel they needed?
I don't think it was necessarily needed, but I think
Okay.
it'll give a variety. Like, it'll kickstart an old game, you know. It'll bring more attention back to something that's kind of lost its vigor.
Okay.
And I don't know. I like Jamaica, but I don't play it very often. I'm not a big fan of racing games, but if I were to pull one off the shelf, it would be Jamaica. And
Okay.
to add a little bit of spice into that, I think is it's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. This Jamaica is a really good game. When I was getting into the hobby, I think this was one of the first games that I saw a review of, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this game looks so cool! I have to have it." And I never ended up getting it because you got it, Dave, and we played it, and it was awesome. It was a good game. This is again one of the most beautiful games. Like the
It does have
components,
amazing
the board.
art.
Oh my god, it looks so cool. That alone made me just love it. So, the Jamaica came out in 2007. So it's going to be a decade, since the original game came out, and this is its first expansion. So, I'm
That is
happy.
pretty. Yeah.
Well, it did have the More Treasures expansion, but that was like a mini expansion.
Right, this is like the first full actual,
Wow.
add some different mechanics to it. So
Yeah,
I'm
I'm just
happy.
peeking. I was just gonna say I'm
just
just peeking
peeking?
at some pictures now, and it does look nice.
Yeah, so I'm happy. This is going to bring it back out to the forefront maybe and get some
My
well-deserved.
This is a little bit of a tangent, but
Tangent?
my one problem with Jamaica is the rule book. They made it like a giant map. So in order to read any part of the rule book, you have to open up this giant map and you're like holding it in front of you.
Hey.
So it's really awkward. Either that or you've got to fold it in weird ways that I can't handle. So
Weird ones that you can't handle at all.
See, that's why you just teach us the game, David, and we don't have to read anything.
Yeah.
but I do have to read it. But
Well, we don't. You do.
true. I typically remember, but occasionally I have to go back and look some things up. But yeah, I think the artwork is amazing, and I'm excited to see. I hope that the artwork in this expansion, complements the original game,
Right.
because that was amazing. And the other thing is, with the base game, they gave background stories for each player has a different pirate that they're playing.
Okay.
And they gave background stories on all the pirates, and I thought that was neat, flavor text. So
Right.
if they do something like that in this expansion, I think that'd be cool too.
Awesome. Do you know when's this supposed to come out? Does it
I
even
don't
say?
know exactly. I know it's supposed to be sometime this year. It would be really cool if it was Origins time, but-
Right. That'd be sweet. No, that's the thing. That's the thing with board game companies. They never tell you when anything's happening because delays and all this stuff, shipping and stuff coming from overseas. So they're never concrete on anything. So normally you find out it's coming when it's here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've
here it is.
been waiting to order the expansions for Star Trek Ascendancy, and those still aren't in, but
Right, I know.
that's another story.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so with that, I think we will move into our in-depth review.
And I'm going to move into beer number 2.
Hey. It all makes sense.
Yeah.
It's time for another in-depth review.
So this week our in-depth review is going to be about Survive, Escape from Atlantis. This is a game that has been remade from the previous Escape from Atlantis. And as far as I know, it plays pretty much the same way. There's been another re-implementation, Survive Space Attack, which was just done last year, I believe.
Or the year before, I think, yeah.
But this is one of Adrian's favorite games, and I enjoy playing it as well. I'll get into that in a minute. Let me explain how the game works first, I guess. So, you kind of have phases in this game. The first phase is to play tiles, which I'll come back to in a second, but the next phase is to move your meeples. So you get 3 movements, and you can move 1 meeple between tiles, or you can move a boat 1 sea space, and your objective is to try to get as many of your meeples off of the island out to the edges of the board. And each of your meeples is worth a different value. So you're trying to save your more important pieces and maybe sacrifice some of your 1s, whereas you're trying to save your 6s. So there's a bit of strategy in determining that. And then after you've moved 3 spaces, then you flip a tile. So there are sand tiles, jungle tiles, and mountain tiles. And in that order, you remove those tiles from the board until there are none left. So once all the sand tiles are gone, then you're going to start removing jungle tiles.
Which, in case our listeners are confused, that goes along with the rules of what is called, what's the word I'm looking for, Dave? Erosion. Right? Because those land features are going to erode first, so it makes scientific sense.
Yes, you're eroding the beach before the forest.
That's the horchata talking. Just continue, Dave.
I'm going to crack another horchata.
Okay, crack one.
Do it. Crack it, man.
Where was I? Oh, yes, you're flipping tiles, and under each tile, there's going to be a different ability. Or
I'd say
maybe,
effect.
yes, effect is a good word for it. Sorry, my beer's foaming up.
It's all right.
Okay, so there's an effect under each tile. There are some that are red tiles. Those are things that are going to take effect immediately, such as a whirl. Scratch that, I have that backwards. Green tiles are going to take effect immediately. For example, they may place new monsters onto the board, like sharks or whales. Or there may be a whirlpool. Or there's also red tiles, which are things you can save. And those are what you play in the first phase of your turn. So those tiles might do things like allow you to move one of the boats that you control up to 3 spaces before you take your turn. So you can get your meeples closer to the edges of the board. So after you flip a tile, and in the process, you may be able to sink some of the other players' meeples into the water. That doesn't kill their meeples, it just puts them in the water. Then you roll a die, which determines which monster you're going to move. So there's whales, sharks, and sea monsters. And each of them moves a different amount of spaces depending on what their effects are. But if you roll a whale, you can move it into a space that will flip a boat over. And then the meeples that are on that boat will be swimmers. If you roll a shark, you can move that into a space that has a swimmer in it. If it moves into a space with a boat, nothing happens. But if there's a swimmer, the shark eats that swimmer, and that meeple is then removed from the game.
That's not good.
Nope,
No.
not at all.
And then the sea monster destroys both boats and meeples, so it doesn't really matter what's in that space, it's going away. But the sea monsters can't move as much as the whales and the sharks are in between, so... it's a interesting mechanic that way. And it keeps going around until eventually one of the mountain tiles is flipped, which reveals a volcano, which signals the end of the game. And once the game is over, you count up the value of each of your meeples, and whoever has the highest value wins.
So I really, had I have not chosen and played, I guess, Flashpoint, this would have been my best game of 2016, my favorite game. But I really enjoy this game because it's complex enough to where there's definitely strategy involved as far as moving your meeples from wherever they're standing on the island, trying to get them either in a boat with your own team of meeples or, in a way, sabotaging another boat of meeples. So it's complex enough to where there's strategy involved, but at the same time, in a way, what you see is what you get. There's not all these other cards that you're trying to play and build on top of one another, and you have 15 things going on at once. I'm not at that level of gaming yet, since I'm fairly new to games and strategy and things like that. So I like that the shark can do this, or the whale can do this, or the Loch Ness Monster does that, and it's just really fun, and it's fun to look at too and play, and you get to move the monsters in your meeples. So yeah, I have to. I really like this game for that reason. Todd?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this game too. Like you said, you don't have. It's not too overly complicated. You have a set amount of things you can do on your turn. Basically, moving your people to try to survive. It's in the name of the game. That's literally almost all you're doing. So that makes it a very easy game to teach. You can almost just start playing, set it up, start playing, and people understand what's going on. First you set up your people where you want them, and then you start moving them and try to save them on the island. Awesome. Let's do it.
Exactly.
So yeah, very, very good game.
Yeah, I like that it's so easy to teach. Like, you throw this on the board, and you don't even really have to explain much ahead of time. You can basically walk a person through their turn. So I think that's a good part of this game. One of the biggest drawbacks, I think, is that it's kind of mean. Like,
yeah, but mean is fun sometimes. I mean, come on.
A major part of this game is to eat other people's meeples. Like, that's one of the main objectives. So, like Travis said, that can be fun sometimes, but I think you have to have the right group of people to do it with. This isn't something I often bring to game days, because introducing new people to this
gets them pissed off.
Yeah, it can have the opposite effect that you want to have on new gamers.
But hey, I persevered, so yeah.
Yeah, if you're having a fight with your significant other, stay away from this one.
Definitely.
Or maybe it'll help you resolve it, whatever.
Yeah, maybe. You never know. Thanks for saving my meeples, honey.
You try that out next time, Dave, and you let us know how it works.
Adrian just attacks me every time anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
She's pretty vicious, so.
It's the one thing that makes me have green, though, because if anyone else tries to take green, Adrian's just going to attack the shit out of you, so just don't do it.
Just don't take green.
Don't take green.
One of the other things I like about this game is that it has several expansions to it that just change the game slightly enough that make it fresh. It adds a little bit of spice to it. The 6-player expansion is one that, I don't know, maybe some people might not like it. It makes it meaner than the regular game is, because with 6 sets of meeples on that board, it's just a bloodbath.
It's just full. There's no empty space.
Like, you're lucky if you get 2 meeples off. Like,
I can imagine, yeah.
But it's still a lot of fun. Like Travis said, sometimes mean is fun, and that's when I like to break this game out.
Yeah. Got to have a close-knit group. So if we were us, playing, us 3, I think it's an awesome game for that situation. Todd, go ahead.
Awesome. Another thing I like about this game is the theme of it. Atlantis, the city of Atlantis sinking into the ocean, and that's exactly what it feels like. The mechanics of the game with the board, breaking away, and the monsters and everyone in the sea, it's perfect. It's the perfect feel. It's awesome.
Yeah. And there's always, it's cool too because there's always a sense of danger. You can't just huddle on the island because it's literally deteriorating away. So that's not really a viable strategy. You're going to either the volcano is going to be flipped over and you're just going to be melted, or it's going to fall into the ocean and there goes your guy. So you got to figure out a way to find a boat that's nearby, right? So there's strategy there. And then once you're on the boat, you got to think, well, this monster can't dive and get over here very quickly, so I can get to the, safe zone, maybe, more quickly. But, like I said, complex, but still fun, and definitely something that most board gamers, I think, could grasp onto fairly easily.
Yeah, I think you nailed it with that feeling of suspense. Mm-hmm. Like, it's always there. And, like, the moment you think it's not there, like, okay, I finally have an opening. I know this is my highest point meeple. I'm going to move him onto the boat. And all of a sudden, bam, a tile flips over. There's a sea serpent right there. And you're like, oh, my God. Mistake.
Mistake,
Huge
yes.
mistake.
Yeah.
That fast. So, yeah, it's definitely... you're definitely on edge the whole game. Like, oh my God, nothing bad happened. Nothing bad happened. Nothing bad happened. It happened. Oh God.
It happened.
Whatever.
So now I want to kind of switch gears, and there's been a lot of iterations of this game, but the one that I think we've all played is the 30th Anniversary Edition that was produced by Stronghold Games. So I want to kind of get your guys' opinion on what you think about the artwork and component quality in the game.
Okay.
Me, I like it. I'm trying to see you go, Todd. You go. Yes, I'll go. No, I like it a lot. Nothing. It's not. It's nothing too flashy. There are prettier games and a little better quality, but for what it is and what you use and everything, very good quality. The tiles themselves, easy to tell apart, not just with the art, but with the size of them. Feel good in your hands, messing with, playing with. The meeples, are good quality. Nothing too elaborate, but
I want to hit on that. Like you mentioned, the tile quality, and I don't know if you guys have seen previous versions of this game. I have, and previous versions have not had that different thickness, and I think that's a good thing that they included in this edition of the game.
Yeah.
Having the mountain tiles be thicker than anything else, I think, was a good design idea. So I think that was a good decision. Travis?
Yeah, I agree. I think that varying the thickness kind of adds an element of it makes it easier to discern which one is which type, but it kind of makes it a little more realistic if you think about what they're supposed to represent. But we were talking about a beautiful game earlier, and I hadn't played this one, but I did look at pictures. Jamaica, right? That's on a whole nother level of, illustrative quality and beauty. This one doesn't look bad, especially in this most recent edition. But the meeples and the animals are pretty generic and simple, where they're made out of wood. And the boats. So it's really not anything that you buy for the beauty of looking at the game, but I think the same thing that doesn't make it, as appealing to the eye, also does make it a little bit more whimsical and fun, because you've got these sharks and the Loch Ness Monster and then the whales. I mean, you can look at them and tell what they are, and it's accessible to people of many different ages too, for that reason. It's kind of simple, fun, cartoonish, whimsical. It's not taking itself too seriously, because think about what you're trying to do. You're trying to escape some of these mythical creatures. So I think that in that sense they made the right choice with like meeple and design choice.
Yeah, I can't even imagine this game with the tiles being the same height and everything. So I don't want to. I'm not gonna.
Don't.
Okay, this is the newest version is the only version. Okay,
There you go.
all right.
Well, the other thing is Travis mentioned the meeple quality, and compared to previous editions, the meeples are a lot better. Like
Okay.
the meeples in the older edition was basically a circle on a stick, and then there was a little bar at the bottom of it.
Okay,
Like-
see, I didn't know
A
that. I
sorry
was just
pawn would
trying
have
to
been better.
Yeah, I was just trying to take it at face value. I haven't had experience with, the previous versions, but that does sound like an improvement.
No, I do think it was an interesting, this game has plastic meeples, which isn't a thing that a lot of other companies have done.
Are
But
they
I think
plastic? I thought they were wood.
no, they're plastic. Your guys are plastic. The sharks and the whales and stuff are wood.
Oh, okay. My bad.
But I don't know. I think it works. They fit well in the boats, and I think you're not worried about the number on the bottom rubbing off or anything. So I think that works well for this game. And well, like Travis said, I don't think this is necessarily the highest quality artwork, but they also spent time to make the board look like it's the ocean. Mm-hmm. So as you're flipping over the tiles, it actually looks like this island is sinking.
Indeed.
And the islands off on the edge of the board also look realistic, I guess. And I think that was a good design quality. But one thing that I would say is that they put pictures of the sea monsters or sea serpents where they're supposed to start, which can be misleading because you can be in any space adjacent to the edge islands and get your meeples off. But the way that the art is done, it looks like you have to be at a dock to get your meeples off onto the island, and that...
Right.
I don't know. Maybe they could have done something different there, but that's a small gripe that I would have. So
yeah, they could have just left the dock off.
Right. Do you think back in the time of Atlantis they had docks?
I don't know. Did they have rowboats?
They probably just swam for it. Just jumped in and swam. Prayed.
So I guess the theme doesn't match up. All right. Docks. But hey,
Docks and sea serpents, whatever.
Sea serpents.
It's all realistic. Yeah.
You know what? This
Throw
is all
the
falling
giant
apart
squid
for
in
me.
there, and
This is all falling apart for me.
Too much horchata.
I hate. Oh.
all right. So I think it's about time we move into our review of the game.
All right.
Our rating of the game, I should say. So, as this is the D6 pack, we rate everything on our 6-pack scale. And if it is the best game ever, it is a 6. And if you just want to throw this in the garbage, then it's a 1. Let's get your thoughts first, Travis.
Like I mentioned earlier, this is definitely second place for my favorite board game of all time. So I can't give it a 6, but I'm going to give it a 5. 5 out of 6.
You can give it a 6 if you want.
You can give it a 6.
I feel like my 6 should be reserved for just
Oh my God.
the piece de resistance. I got to save it.
You make me feel bad, dog. You throw 6s around like they're nothing.
You throw 6s around like they're nothing.
Yeah, this is definitely. I love this game. This is one of the I think this is one of the first hobby games you own, David. Is that right?
One of them, yeah.
In the first or second batch, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So again, one of the first games I played because we played together most of the time, and I think this is a very good gateway game. Like I said before, simple to teach. New players can come in. You just show them like, "Hey, this is what we're doing." They're like, "Well, okay." Have some fun. Sink some boats. Shark. Who doesn't love sharks eating people? I mean, come on, Sharknado is huge. Sharks everywhere. Shark Week. It's like I feel like you have to play this game on Shark Week always. New law, made by Todd. Okay, so for me, rating.
I don't think I've abided by that law in the past.
New law. All you listeners out there, new law by Todd. Shark Week. Play this game.
So apparently, you have to either buy this or have a friend who already has it.
Just buy it. Okay. So for my rating, I think I'm also going to give this a 5 out of 6.
All right. So for me, I really enjoy this game. Apparently, I'm a little harsher than both of you guys are, though. Like Travis said, I reserve my 6s for the highest games.
I guess Travis reserves it for his literal highest game.
The only one, just mwah,
Just
six.
one game is his 6, but
Well, to be fair too, Dave, you, out of all three of us, have played
Yes.
a lot more games than we have, so
Oh,
you
yeah.
have a lot more to kind of compare this
Yeah.
to.
that's true. But I do enjoy the game. So just sort of to give an idea, 3 is kind of average. So for me, this game is above average, but just barely. So I'm going to give it a 4. I think it's a good game. I enjoy playing it, but it's not going to make one of my top lists unless maybe gateway games, but
Right.
but I do enjoy the game, and it's good. So I'm not gonna fault your guys' scores at all. So
And hey, I've had a couple beers. Who knows what I'm really thinking? You'll find out.
Yeah, who knows? You can't really trust anything
Todd's much
Todd's
more
saying at this
generous with his
point.
ratings.
I guess.
He's loving it though. The horchata is the jam for him right now.
It's got to be at least above a 3 though, otherwise it'd be like a 1.
For what?
I'm saying the horchata is just gonna take you to the extremes. Like
Oh, I see. Yeah.
if it was a bad game, it wouldn't be high.
I think
This game
horchata
sucks.
translates to delusional. That's where Todd's at right now.
The horchata mixed with a 5-hour energy, maybe. But
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. My eyes just twitching. Like, stop. Something's happening. My body is reacting to something. What? I don't know, but something.
all right. So with that, I think we will move into our beer review.
Yeah.
Let's review that brew.
Okay, guys. So, you might be able to tell I'm kind of I'm a little loosey-goosey right now, but that's good.
We wouldn't have you any other way, man.
I drank the first one pretty quick. Second one's basically done. It will be done very soon. Coming into this, the thought of cinnamon horchata, the first word is cinnamon. So I was expecting cinnamon. Outside of kind of the smell, the taste, I'm not getting a lot of cinnamon.
Really?
I would
yeah.
have to disagree with that.
Because I'm not a cinnamon fan. Like, I really don't like cinnamon at all. Like, Big Red, gum like that, cinnamon.
Oh, it's not that kind of cinnamon.
It's
I
not at
know.
all.
Okay, but even like just the regular powdered cinnamon, I really am not. Like people put it under French toast, waffles, pancakes. I don't like none of that.
So
I
you
stay
hear the
away from
word
that.
cinnamon, and you're like,
No,
basically.
no cinnamon.
Fetal
So
position.
I'm definitely not getting. Well, let me hold on. Let me taste one more time.
Oh, because now you're thinking of the cinnamon, and you're going to be like, damn it, there's cinnamon in here. Don't know what I've been thinking this whole time. Because I'm definitely tasting cinnamon.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm not getting. At least it's not strong for me to
Yeah.
notice it. Now, David, as you said earlier, the horchata, kind of that rice beer. It has
Rice.
that rice. What?
It's not really a beer.
It's
Horchata's
long-grain
just
rice.
a drink.
Yeah. It's just a drink.
It's like
Yeah.
rice milk.
Because you can milk a rice grain. You just the end of it, and you got some milk coming out.
Okay.
Anyways, let me try to save this. So as soon as we opened it, I shared at the beginning, I smelled cinnamon, reminded me of cinnamon rolls. I got hungry. I digress. But anyways, I have enjoyed this, and I think the fact that it's made out of the rice, because as we go on, and as I've mentioned in the past, I don't like the hoppy aftertaste that a lot of beers have. I know Dave said this isn't really considered a beer as we would think about it normally, so I've really enjoyed it, and I think that there's the right amount of cinnamon. and it's smooth. It goes down easily. There's no weird aftertaste for me. But yeah, it's been really good. Really good.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I think the cinnamon taste is there. I don't know what Todd's talking about, but
I don't know. I don't know either.
Todd's just drunk on the 5-hour energy, so
He's
He
thinking
doesn't
this is
need
going
to
to
be.
taste like
Like I said, maybe because I don't like cinnamon, I don't eat cinnamon that often. I just forgotten what it tastes like.
cinnamon.
So you
don't
do
know.
like cinnamon now. You just
I
didn't
hate
know you
cinnamon.
liked it.
No, I hate cinnamon.
He loves it. He's a closet cinnamon freak. Oh boy. Anyways,
Anyway, I've never honestly had like horchata like as by itself, but I know what it is. This is kind of what I imagined it tasting like. From what I've heard, the cinnamon is kind of an odd pair for horchata, but in this case, I think it goes well. The cinnamon is subtle, but it kind of accents the creaminess of the horchata flavor, and I think those pair well together. And I think it's a good beer overall.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a good beer. Very crisp feel in the mouth. Really enjoying it. It's a light beer. So definitely not so much strong flavors. Like I said, I can't even taste cinnamon, so definitely not a strong flavor there. But very good.
All right, so Todd, you want to lead us off with the rating? We're going to
Yep.
use the same 6-pack scale we used for our in-depth review.
Okay. So, I've been plowing through it pretty fast. So that's definitely a good sign. I'm gonna give this beer a 5 out of 6. Definitely very much enjoyed it. Definitely something I would get again. I would buy myself. Really like this beer. Blue Moon as a brand is, really hit or miss with me. This is a hit.
very cool.
Travis?
I'm right there with Todd, except for the fact that I definitely taste the cinnamon, and I like what I'm tasting. So I would also give it a 5 out of 6, and I could see this being a beer that I could pick up and enjoy at any time of the year, really.
I had a feeling that you might like this one, Travis, so I'm glad to hear that you give it a 5 out of 6.
Well, I definitely need to ask your opinion then more, because you seem to know what you're talking about.
I know when you don't like a beer. I'm going to
Yeah.
make you drink it anyway, but...
Okay, well, I appreciate it.
So for me, I'm going to make this unanimous. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 6 as well. I think this is a really good beer. It's got a good flavor. And like Travis said, this is something I could see myself drinking pretty much any time of the year. So it's fairly neutral. So it's something that it's not like too sweet and it's not too bitter. So it's something you can pick up and just drink. And it's good.
I'd say so.
All right. Well, 5s have it.
5s have it.
So I think that pretty much wraps up our episode.
Episode 2 in the books.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of D6 Pack. We hope you'll tune in next month for our thoughts on Breckenridge Brewery Oatmeal Stout, the blockbuster film Star Wars Rebel One, and a ton more nerdy entertainment. Don't forget to check us out at D6 Pack Podcast on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. As always, D6 Pack is not affiliated with any products discussed during this podcast, and all opinions are those of the creators.